Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a subscriber interview out of California. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe, click the like button, and please leave a comment. It really does help, and guys, it definitely matters. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Imagine being in an isolated parking area late at night. Your vehicle doesn't start, it's just you and your dog. You hear a growl, and then this creature steps out of the woods. That's what happened to our subscriber today. Let's get into it. Alright, tonight I have a subscriber coming to us from California. His name's Jason. Jason, how are you today?
Hey, Jeff. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you taking some time out of your evening. I know we were set to do something last night, but you had some stuff come up, and which is completely understandable. I'm just glad that we were able to finally get together and do an interview, because you got some experiences that you'd like to share with us that are out of the great state of California. So
yes.
I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and you can share with us what you have experienced.
All right. Well, hello. My name's Jason. I've only had a few. The other one of them was more like auditory.
Okay.
More like an audio experience where it was vocalizing and stuff like that. But right before the one with my van breaking down, I was in Valley Springs camping because I was homeless and I was living in my van, and I wanted to not stay in the van, so I ended up renting a campsite for like 4 days there, and I was pulling into one of the crossing roads, and so I pulled into this like little pull-off area because my dog was like, "All right, Dad, it's time. I got to go to the bathroom." So he couldn't wait, so I let him out, and I was sitting. There was this fence line, this like, there's like old wooden fences with like the barbed wire and stuff.
Right.
So that's what was going on there. So I saw something really, really strange. I saw this set of legs. It was just a random set of legs, and they didn't look like legs. They didn't look right. Now, someone like me, I've always been a believer in Dogman and werewolves and Sasquatch, and but its legs were bowed out, and it was standing behind the tree. It was strange. It was standing behind this tree, just standing there completely still.
Okay.
But the way it had its body positioned, it's like it was almost half hugging the the tree, and so I saw its legs, so it was in this weird position where it was, it was very stealthy, very scary. And so that happened about a week or two before the incident with the van. But another experience I was there with, because Hogan Lake is really close to where I used to live there in Stockton.
Okay.
And my friends and I, that's where everybody goes to go floating and tubing and boating, basically. So I was walking with my dog through. I was cutting through this large field to go ahead to one of the bathrooms, and something caught my eye. Now, I'm thinking more. I think this visual that I had. I think I might have saw a Sasquatch.
Yeah, makes sense in California.
Oh yeah, and it dude, it was huge.
Okay.
Huge. It was walking. It actually caught my dog's attention, and then I looked over into this like little hill valley area, and I saw a large animal on all fours. This guy was on all fours. He wasn't walking bipedal.
Okay.
But he was on all fours, and the way he would roll his shoulders forward when he walks was a total trip.
Now, was it the movement? Was it the movement that caught your eye?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The way it was sort of like a lurch, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it rolled its shoulders forward as it was walking forward on all fours, and these things' shoulders were gigantic. At first, I was like, "Is that a mountain lion?" No, Jason, that is not a mountain lion. And I was like, "Is that a Bigfoot?" Because it didn't look like a Dogman, because I didn't see pointed ears, but it had to have been a Sasquatch.
So with that, when it did it just go away from you? So you were walking towards the restroom.
So I was walking towards the restroom, and I looked down at Scooter or something, and it was walking sort of through the little hill valley thing in like a straight zigzag type of motion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked down at Scooter, I looked back over and I lost track of it. I didn't know where it just disappeared. It's just like poof. It was there once and now it's not there. But it was a brown and black fur color, like mixed.
So like a brindle kind of color, or like just like a...
Kind of like, exactly like a brindle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty much like a brindle, but I could see large black patches of fur too. But I knew it wasn't a mountain lion or a deer or anything else, because we hardly ever get mountain lions here now.
Really?
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Now, that's where you're from, that area. So did you guys was there an abundance of mountain lion at one time, or, every once in a while?
Not so much that area. Up a little higher into the mountain ranges, that's when you would get more mountain lion activity.
Okay. Okay.
but this is still kind of Valley Springs is you're up in the hills. You're up in the Rocky Hills where it's rocky. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not too far from the valley, which is where I was from. And so this was now, mind you, these encounters happened over a span of like 5 years, you know, and but so camping last year, I had I had to I was taking a shower,
Mm-hmm.
and I had Scooter in there with me, sitting down, and as I was showering, I kept getting this feeling like I was really uncomfortable, like I was being. I felt like I felt like something was going to pounce on me.
And this is still at the campground?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
and I just kept getting this feeling, like, this uneasy feeling, and that happened a couple times, and then um, the last day came, and I was happy to be out of there. So didn't really get the Dogman experience except for the one that was hiding behind a tree. I think it was one,
Right. Now,
but
going
yeah,
going back to that real quick. So it was you're walking towards, or you're just walking with your dog, and you see the set of legs. What is it? Is it just standing there and watching you, or does it leave?
yeah,
Do you see it leave, but not see like the upper portion of it?
something like that. It was watching us,
Okay.
but when I got into the van again and pulled around, I think it dropped to all fours and just took off.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But it was it was there, and then it was gone, just just like the Sasquatch. But I do remember seeing the tops of its ears and the back of its head,
Okay.
because it turned its head to really strangely, to like look at us, and I was like, that is, I don't. I was like, is that, no? I was like, no, that's definitely not Bigfoot. And so I was like, like I said, I've always been a believer in Dogman and werewolf and Sasquatch. Grew up wanting to find them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so when I saw that, but how I knew it was something different is because I remember seeing the points of its ears, because its ears moved, and then it turned its head, but it kept its legs and its body completely still, like it was standing there with its. It was holding on to the tree, I think, and it was. Oh, how was it? Its body was forward at me through the tree, like it was directly looking at us,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all black. The fur was completely black. So that was when we first pulled in there. But then the only other time that I had a suspicion was when I was feeling uneasy while I was showering. Like I kept feeling like I was being watched, and like something was going to jump out, but nothing happened.
Right.
So we're leaving. Uh, I left a little late uh, that day, and I ended up falling asleep in my van at the campsite when I was supposed to have checked out. So I woke up and oh man, we got to get out of here. So it was already 12:30 in the morning, and I was like, all right, it's time to go. So I was already packed up and ready, and so we start heading down the road, and it was very strange. Like I remember there being a moon out. I remember it being bright, and what else? So we were driving through Valley Springs and through all of the little hill towns. There's so many little towns that are in between there. Small, this really tiny little community towns, and I was in the van. We were cruising, and it was probably about 4:20 in the morning, and I had to use the bathroom so bad. We had just passed Wallace, this little town called Wallace, which is right before Clements. So I was like, because I don't like to really pull over on the side of the road. It's just, I guess I'm pee shy. But yeah, and so I said, I will use the bathroom at the river because there'll probably be nobody there. If there's anybody there, it'll be like one person. So we're driving in, and I had to go so bad, and Scooter had to go too because he's a dog, and he is an older dog. Scooter was 11 years old when this happened.
Okay.
So Scooter is a senior citizen dog,
Yeah.
And so he has to go a lot. He has to go a lot. And so we both had to go. So we pull on to McIntyre Road. As we pull onto McIntyre Road, my van just died. Like there was no electrical anything. There was nothing. It just died. And so I pulled it off to the side of the road, got out, popped the hood, and because my best friend had given me that van because of the situation that I was in, because I lost everything, and he said it's got some problems, and so it had issues with the battery and some electrical problems, but it never gave me a problem until that morning, and so I get out, and my best friend said, just move, just jiggle the battery cables, this and that, and it should turn back on. So that's what I did, and it worked. So I get back in the van, I turn the van over, it starts, and we start heading down towards the river, and I got this really bad feeling that completely just came over me, like out of nowhere. I was feeling like I really needed to turn around and not go, but something was like, don't go, just turn around. You can hold it for a few more miles. But I just couldn't hold it, so I ignored the red flag, and we get into the driveway of the river, and as we're pulling down the driveway and I make a left into the parking lot, my van just dies again. But it was worse than it was worse than first time.
Okay.
And this time, not even one little light would come on. Like all the electrical just went kaput. The van was completely dead. It was completely dead in the water. It wasn't going nowhere at all. So I was like, okay, I'll do the whole battery thing and play with some of the wiring. And so I get out of the van, I open the hood, and I start playing with hoses and shit. And I heard this growl. This was like a rumbly growl. Like a rumble.
Right.
It was really, I've never heard, it is sort of like a lion mixed with like a growl of a wolf. But you know how like lions huff.
Yeah.
That's the noise that it was making. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I wasn't thinking Dogman or thinking of what we saw camping. I was just like, what is that? And then it did it again. It went, and I was okay, no. So I got back in the van. So my gut said, get your ass back in the van.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I did. And as soon as, I kid you not, man, as soon as I sat down in the van, about 50 feet in front of me, walks out this huge animal. It was huge. Right out of the tree line, right through the brush, and 50 feet across from me, it stepped out onto the parking lot. And I was like, that is a big animal. And I was looking at it, and it had to have been 4 or 5 feet tall, and it was on all fours.
Definitely not a wolf.
Huh?
Definitely not a wolf being that big.
Definitely. No, because like I said, I know that river like the back of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
The only animals that are out there are some wild turkeys, some deer, some raccoons, and I've seen a couple rattlesnakes, but that's it there. Right. There are no big predatory animals at this river at all. So Scooter sits up because both of our windows were like cracked down. So Scooter caught the whiff of this thing and didn't want anything to like do with it, and left me up front all by myself. And he went to the back of the van and laid down. And as soon as I was watching him go back there. And then when I turned my attention back to the animal that was in the parking lot, sure shit, this thing, it stood up on its hind legs. It just stood up like it was nothing. And that's what I knew. I said, oh my God, it's Dogman. And I was terrified. It sort of perked its head or nodded its head slightly to like the right and twitched its, like kind of like a head twitch, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else. But I was like, I think it's a Dogman. And so I was terrified. And then it starts taking a few steps forward towards me, towards my van, and it stops. And it bends down. It sort of like lurches down, or maybe it's because its back was arched. I don't know, but it looked like it was bent down, and it started sniffing in my direction. Jeff, I tell you, my heart dropped. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how we were going to get out of the situation. I didn't know what to do if it decided to charge.
Right. Yeah. Because you're a sitting duck. You're a sitting duck. Your van's not starting at all. You're stuck right there at that point.
Yeah, and I remember going, "Oh my God, please, God, get us out of this situation. I do not want to get killed by a werewolf." And so it stood there at least for a few minutes, just looking at us. So I don't know if it was deciding what to do with us, or if it was just curious and like checking us out. I don't know, but it stood there for a little bit, just checking us out. And then after that, it turned around and started, and it headed back towards the tree line. But before it went all the way into, before it entered the shrubs, it turned its head or half of its body around at me just to look at me one more time. That's what did it for me.
Yeah.
What did it for me.
Was there an eye shine when it was looking at you? Was there any kind of color to its eye that you could see, or?
I didn't. I do remember seeing some kind of a glow. It wasn't very bright though, but where this parking lot has no lights. It has no lights whatsoever.
Okay.
So I saw this creature as a solid shadow, if that makes sense.
Right.
And that's what I saw.
Huh.
And during the encounter, I forgot I had, like, it completely fell aside of me that I had to use the bathroom. As soon as it left and went back into the tree line, that's when it hit me. I was like, man, I really got to go. But I was not about to step out of that van, leave my dog, and have a physical run-in with that creature. I didn't want to chance it. So I said, God, please let this van start. Because during the encounter, I didn't even try turning on the van because there were no lights on. So as soon as it left, I turned the key like a few times, and on like the third try, it started. I got the hell out of there. And then finally got to use the bathroom at a gas station like a couple miles down. That was the longest I've ever had to hold going to pee. It was terrible. And what made it worse is I had an encounter with a Dogman.
Yeah. Now, there was no, after it stood there, that one kind of growl, the guttural growl before you had gotten in your van, was that the only noise it made? Or?
That's the only noise I remember it making.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was inside of the van.
Right. Okay.
So, once I heard the growl outside of the van, I quickly jumped back inside the van.
Now,
yeah, so
had your dog been outside prior to you guys seeing the Dogman?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
No, we just pulled in, and the van died as soon as we pulled into the parking lot. Now, this parking lot doesn't have stalls. It's just a few wood stumps and gravel. That's it. It was just very rural, very, very old school.
Right.
Parking lot. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I remember when I narrated the encounter, and it was, I was imagining how I would feel if I was in your predicament. You're pretty much trapped and
oh my God, it was terrible.
Helpless.
That was the worst part, is because there wasn't anything I could do to protect myself, to protect my dog. I had my swords with me, but what the hell is that going to do?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, you had said you had an auditory one. Was that before all of this or after that? After.
This one happened here in San Francisco.
Really?
Yeah. At Golden Gate Park.
Okay.
I was walking. Scooter and I were walking through this trail, really big trail that leads through the park, that leads you to the park. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like a little patch of woods and a trail. And I heard something that sounded like grunting. It was a grunt, but it didn't make me think Sasquatch, because for some reason, but I was like, is that a Dogman? But it made a few grunts, and it was behind us, and then I believe it was behind us at first, and then to my right.
Okay.
And because Scooter, I always walk with Scooter on the left, and Scooter I do not let him off his leash. He stays on his leash next to his dad at all times.
Right.
I'm not like these other dog owners that just let their dogs off the leash and just go for a run.
Right.
That dog, I love my dog, and I don't want something happening to it.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, he's a lot older and not as fast as, a younger dog. So, did your dog act strange when he heard the noise? How was?
Yeah, he did, because I think that's when because I remember after the growl happened, I looked into the window and Scooter's head popped up. So he heard it too.
Okay.
And it was like we were stuck trapped. We had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Like nowhere. But the auditory one was scary, but that one was more, it could have been anything, really.
Right.
But to the side of me, and I wasn't worried about Scooter because he walks at my side anyways, and but it was like at least half a mile into, right before we got to Golden Gate Park, is when it stopped trailing us or following us. But that sums it up for encounters that I've had. I mean, they aren't much or a whole lot to describe. Sorry, that's
it's that's just it. I really, anytime someone says that, I have the you had an experience with something that, as growing up, we are told that monsters don't exist. And,
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it doesn't matter how mundane or small it may seem to you. And, after hearing, I got, I shot a Dogman or whatever. But every encounter is big because it's just more proof of these things existing, and for you to be that close, and when your van broke down, you're outside looking at the wires, you hear it, you get in, and then there it is. That's actually that's a very big encounter, because what happens if you ignored that growl? What happens if you were just like, whatever, and you kept going on with what you were doing? It's
Anything could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. How big was that park in the Golden Gate Bridge Park? No, the Golden Gate Bridge Park where you had the Auditory one. How big is that? Is that very big?
Golden Gate Park it's bigger than Central Park.
Okay.
It's huge. It's a huge park.
All right.
It is so big, I haven't even finished exploring Golden Gate Park yet. And I've only been living here for almost 2 years now.
Wow. So there's a lot of places something like that could hide. So you don't, I
had taken photos of footprints.
Really?
I have a Facebook page that is dedicated just to Dogman.
Uh-huh.
And I posted the 2 pictures of the footprints that I found on there. And
what's your Facebook page called?
Dogman Study.
Dogman Study? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No. Go ahead.
No, and I was just, so in case anybody wanted to check out those pictures, they could just go on Facebook, Dogman Studies.
At facebook.com.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
Now, is it study?
Very easy.
Is it study or studies?
Study. Dogman Study.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm sure people will come over and check it out. And those photos were taken at the Golden Gate Bridge Park.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Wow.
Right on the trail.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming and taking some time out of your evening to share these with us. Do me a favor, don't hang up when we end the interview. I want to talk to you for a few after. But is there anything that you'd like to say to the audience before we end the interview?
Just stay safe, and things aren't always as they seem. You have to keep your head on a swivel and always be aware of your surroundings.
Some good words to live by, to be honest with you. Everyone needs to be hyper vigilant while in the woods, even if you're just
in the city.
Yeah, a set of woods that you're aware of, like you said, with you wouldn't think you hear Golden Gate Bridge Park and you're not like, but yet it's that big. There's things that could be there. And if people are hiking or walking, a lot of times they use headphones or iPods or
exactly.
Just wear one. You don't need both of them in, So, but yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Do me a favor, don't hang up. I want to talk to you a little bit after. All right, my friend.
You got it.
All right, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, guys, I hope you all enjoyed today's upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Jason is a super nice guy. I talked to him for a little bit before and a little after, and he's really just a down-to-earth guy. his experience is absolutely terrifying. I mean, you are completely stranded. Your vehicle isn't going to start, and you've got nothing but a couple of swords with you. The reason why he had swords, I'm sure someone may ask that question. He is, or is a practitioner in ninjutsu. He lives out in California, and he has been studying it for a very long time. But, like he said, what's my swords going to do against a Dogman? Not much. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed today's upload. Thank you for all of your support. You guys are what makes this channel. People like you, people like Jason. So, truly thank you. May the Great Spirit watch over us all, and may He guide us down that path that we call life. Stay safe, everyone.